splitting this Carolina Panthers podcast into two separate episodes, like Eddie Pinheiro will be splitting the uprights after many a Panthers touchdown in 2024, and also some field goals, probably more field goals, if we're being honest. This podcast has lasers that can potentially trigger seizures for people with photosensitive epilepsy. Viewer discretion is advised. This is Laser Show.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance.
Yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about that little intro? Hey, something different. That could be my little routine up top. Fun little episode, special episode for my degenerate gamblers out there. Wanted to give you guys some hot tips. I'm telling you right now, if you're not into football, you're not going to like this episode. This is just for football fans and or gamblers. I listen to a lot of sports gambling podcasts, including the Sports Gambling Podcast. There's a whole network of podcasts, and that's what I've been listening to a lot. Would love to give a shout out to the Sports Gambling Podcast. Sean Green, Ryan Kramer. Love to give a shout out to the Bottom Line Bombs, on which I was a guest a couple weeks ago, giving a little Panthers breakdown. I got to be the NFC South guest on the Bottom Line Bombs, which is a podcast that I'm a fan of, so that was really cool. CJ Sullivan, the Laddie Daddy, Scumbagger Vance, the Deli Llama, the Bet Detective. Got to be on that. Also want to shout out the College Football Experience, Colby Dant. Great podcast, great sports podcast, very knowledgeable. Was way off on BC, Florida State. I was not. So, congrats to all these men on their successful podcast. But I'm going to just be a little bit more accurate with you guys. I'm going to give you guys good picks that are going to fucking hit. That's towards the end. First, I'm going to give you guys a little 2024 Carolina Panthers preview. What? This episode, wow. Episode 27, huh? And what a very specific episode. And then, don't worry, I'm not going to do this regularly. I'm not going to make this a sports podcast. I didn't want to make it a stand-up podcast either, but that's kind of what it became. I'm all over the place. I'm juking like I'm Deontay Johnson. I'm here, then I'm there. Boom. I'm straight down your throat like Chuba. I don't know why I said that. That sounded odd, didn't it? But you never know what you're going to get at the Laser Show podcast. Hey, sometimes I'll talk stand-up, sometimes I'll talk that time I went to the strip club and cried. And then sometimes I'm going to do a 2024 Panthers preview. For those who have no idea what's going on with this team, let me tell you, it's not good. The 2023 Carolina Panthers were the worst team in the league. Not only were they the worst team in the league, but they actually said it. They were the first team in NFL history to go 2-15. Isn't that kind of fun? Hey, that's kind of fun. Come on. If you're going to suck, go into the record books. Go big or go home. With the new 17-game season, we were the first ever 2-15 NFL team. And not only were we 2-15, only winning 2 games, but we never once held a lead in the fourth quarter all season long. That's right, our 2 wins came on field goals as time expired. I mean, just putrid. And it's not just that. It's not just that it was a bad season. Bad seasons happen. We had a bad season in 2010, and it landed us Cam Newton in the draft. We had a bad season in 2001. It landed us Julius Peppers in the draft. It's okay to have a bad season every now and again, but this was different. This was different because before the season, we traded away so much to move up in the draft, to pick number 1 overall, because we were so close. We almost made it to the playoffs the year before, and we were really just a quarterback away. So in the offseason, we shipped a bunch of picks to the Chicago Bears, including the first round pick the next year, which was this past 2024 draft. And then we were the worst team in the league, so the Bears got the number 1 overall pick that would have been ours. Then they drafted Caleb Williams, who looks pretty good so far. So it just like sucks all around. The past 6-7 years in the Panthers organization, really since TJ Watt broke Cam Newton in half on Monday Night Football and fucked his shoulder up permanently, it's just been really bad. Coaching changes ever since David Tepper, this owner, took over, who sucks. And it sucks when the owner of your favorite team is just a piece of shit. Because if you have a coach that you don't like, or if you have a quarterback or a player that you don't like, you can just root for him to be gone. Maybe they'll just get rid of this guy, God willing. The fans hate him. But when it's the owner, there's nothing you can do. You just got to suck it up, and you got to root for this guy's team that he owns, this guy that you fucking hate. You're rooting to be happy, and then he will be happy with you, and that kind of makes it worse. My dream would be for David Tepper to sell the team. That's the number 1 dream that I have for this organization, and it'll never happen. Owners don't just do that. They should. If your team sucks for like a really long time, I think you should have to put the team up for sale. If you have like 6 or 7 losing seasons in a row, which we have, haven't we? 17 was the last one. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, 6 losing seasons in a row, and all signs are pointing to a 7th. I think you should have to sell the team. That's only fair. That should be a rule. That should be the commish. Come on, Roger, make that a rule, please. Because this is putrid. It's been putrid for years and years and years. Hiring different coaches and then firing different coaches. Signing different quarterbacks, releasing different quarterbacks. There's just been no stability on this team, and it's just been a disaster for years and years. And it's made me, I'll be honest, it's made me less of a fan. It has. I don't like this team as much as I used to. If you listen to my last episode 26, talking about growing up and being a Panthers fan and how obsessed I was with this team growing up. I would watch the ticker on the bottom of the TV screen. That's how I would watch games before Sunday Ticket was invented. Because they didn't play the Panthers in mass on TV. Massachusetts, not church. They did play the Panthers in church. Because they were the holiest team. People say it's the Saints. It's not. It's the Panthers. It's the team that, after 9/11 happened, lost 15 games in a row because they were so sad. We are the most saintly team. But alas, we are cursed. We are the most cursed logo, a black cat. Is there anything more cursed adjacent than that? The Alabama Ladders, ain't nothing like that, you know. We're a black cat. And thus we've never had back-to-back winning seasons. Luckily, we are going to have a winning season this year. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I do think we can be a middling team. But after 2023, where we had one of the worst offenses in the NFL, really, really hard to watch. I mean, brutal. And I watched every game. Because I'm paying NFL Sunday Ticket is so expensive that they're getting sued for being so expensive. That's how expensive it is. It's up to like $430 or something. For me, if you don't have DirecTV, it's like over $400. So that you can watch any NFL game, and then you get Sunday Ticket, and it's really not any NFL game. It's really like a handful of them every week, and a bunch of them are blacked out for reasons that are not explained. All the time games are blacked out. Rarely the Panthers games, though. Those are never blacked out in your area because they're never playing anywhere in your area. No one's playing Panthers games on TV. No one wants to see this team. We are the only team, I believe, in the NFL this year that doesn't have a single primetime game. We don't play at night ever this whole season. It used to be every single team would at least get a Thursday night game. They're done with that rule. That's over now. Because the Panthers are so bad. They were like, we cannot. The Panthers played the Bears last year on Thursday Night Football, and that's the Thursday Night Football that I think really broke people. It was Bryce Young and the Panthers against Tyson Bagent and the Bears, and I think the NFL was like, maybe we don't have to do like every team gets Thursday Night Football. This sucks. I love Thursday Night Football, though. The players hate it because it's 4 days after they just played, and it's terrible for injuries and concussions. You shouldn't play 2 NFL football games within 4 days. It's so unsafe, but I love it. More days with football. I'll just watch whatever game is on anytime. Because football's the best. Ain't it? Sometimes I'll just watch a game. Whatever game Joe Tessitore calls on ESPN, he's a BC guy. You guys know BC from the other night when they whooped Florida State, who's now not even ranked. The Seaman Holes. Man, fuck that team. Anyway, Joe Tessitore is a college announcer, and literally any game he calls, I want to watch. I think he's so good. I respect that job so much. A sports announcer, a commentator, it's such a cool job. I would never want to do it. You have to be articulate, smart, a little bit funny. You got to be up to date on the teams. You got to be engaging. You got to have a good voice. And you got to be quick. I respect the hell out of that job. Anyway, I'm getting off track. The 2023 Carolina Panthers were an unmitigated disaster. And thus, expectations for the 2024 Carolina Panthers are pretty low. Our over-under win total for the season set at 5.5. Just pretty low. Yeah, that's pretty low. But it's fair. I get it. I get why people would think we're not going to win a whole lot of games. Hell, I don't think we're going to win a lot of games. No way. But if you think we aren't going over 5.5 games, you're crazy. The juice on this one was heavily towards the under. It was like minus 160 to the under 5.5. And that line has changed. That line has changed, brother. Now it's like minus 150 to the over because people are getting wind. Is it me? Is it me blowing the wind? Am I that wind blowing emoji? The Panthers aren't that bad. Maybe it is. Maybe Vegas, maybe Caesars has caught my wind. Or maybe I simply have too much gas. Maybe there's too much gas coming from my ass because I've been eating impossible meat. And it really, really gives me a lot of gas. I don't often notice foods giving me gas. I either fart or I don't. I don't think, oh, that was from this thing that I ate. Sometimes I fart. Most of the time I don't fart. Several times throughout the day I do fart. And then the rest of the time I'm not farting. That's pretty constant throughout most days. Except when I eat impossible meat, ground meat. Maybe it's Beyond. I forget which brand it is, but whatever it is, I have like 5-second long farts every 30 seconds for like several hours. It feels really good because the gas basically comes straight out of your anus and you can feel it. And I love the feeling of that. Anyway, people are catching my wind, I think. The juice is now to the over. And here's why I believe we can surpass 5.5 wins. Yes, last year was a fucking disaster. But how quickly people forget how goddamn good Bryce Young was in college. And I hate to say, hey, Bryce Young was really good in college, so that's a reason to believe in him now. I know how pathetic that sounds. I know that. Bryce Young is 5'9.5", a tiny man for an NFL quarterback, of course. Doesn't bother me. The only thing that bothers me about Bryce is it's not his size. I don't mind. I actually liked that he was short because I'm kind of a short guy. I'm 5'9", and we're actually the same height. So I don't really appreciate all these memes where he's so tiny. Because he's actually the same exact height as me. And but I'm jacked. That's one thing. Bryce is not as jacked as me. I should be the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Now my shoulder's fucked. I couldn't. It doesn't bother me that Bryce is so small. I do want him to bulk up. I do want him to hit the weights and bulk up because he is like very skinny. The only thing that bothers me about Bryce is that he doesn't have he doesn't really show a lot of passion. And I mean, there was no passion to show last year, let's be honest. There's nothing to be excited about and celebrate and get in someone's face and do like how Cam used to do, man. Cam, for how controversial he was and how everyone hated him, he was a villain. He was one of those villains that you love when they're on your team and you hate when they're not on your team. But I loved the first down celebrations, getting in people's faces, fuck you, starting little fights. That's what I want, a little bit of fire. I have not seen any fire out of Bryce. I want to see some emotion. I want to see some fist pumping when we get a touchdown. Not throw a touchdown and give a little thumbs up and jog off the field. I want an excited fist pump. Let's fucking go. Phillip Rivers shit. That's what I want. Show a little fire, Bryce. Show a little passion. You're tiny. You got to have passion, dude. You don't have the size. You got to have heart. Steve Smith was 5'9". That dude had passion. Every fucking time he got a first down, he was letting them know it. You got to let these fuckers know. Lank. Let a naysayer know. As Jalen Milroe might say. Lank on him, Bryce. But people forget how goddamn good Bryce Young was. He was a goddamn Heisman Trophy winner, okay? Shut the fuck up. Bryce Young is not good. Bryce Young was a Heisman Trophy winner, dude. It's not that he's not good. He's very good. And I believe he will be very good. He was dominant at Alabama to the point where he was the consensus number 1 pick. People like to bring up the C.J. Stroud thing. Oh, the Panthers fucked up so bad. They should have drafted C.J. Stroud. Of course, in retrospect, how smart you sound. Bryce was the guy. Bryce was the improviser. Bryce was the magician, the mini Mahomes. The off-script throws and the improvising and the making something out of nothing. And he was so smart. He was so cerebral. He was not that athletic. He's never been that athletic. He's never been big. He's always been tiny. But he was a magician. He was smart. He was a quick processor. The microprocessor, I call him. Because he's so tiny. Of course. But he was the guy. I wanted to draft Bryce. I wanted to draft Bryce over CJ. Cam Newton wanted the Panthers to draft Bryce over CJ. Marcus Spears, a lot of these NFL heads, talking heads, and former players, and everyone you would interview before the draft said Bryce Young should be the guy. A lot of people felt that way. Don't act like it was an insane thing to do. The coach wanted CJ, but it was Tepper. It was just Tepper who wanted Bryce. Tepper and his wife who tells him what to do. It wasn't just Tepper. As much as I hate Tepper, it was not just Tepper. It was me. It was Cam Newton. It was pretty consensus Bryce. The only thing CJ had over Bryce was height. That's literally it. CJ had no mobility. A bevy of receiver. He was throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave. Bryce was throwing to who? Fucking Jameson Williams? And he's so short, he can't see over the line. In the NFL, first of all, players at Alabama and in the SEC are the same size of guys you're going to see in the NFL. The NFL is all SEC guys. It's not like a crazy jump. He just went to the NFL and he's just too small. He can't play with these big guys. Shut up. These are the same size people he's been playing with. And he can't see over the line. That's something that is insane to me. It infuriates me when people say that. He's too short. He can't see over the line. Okay. No NFL quarterback is seeing over the line. There's no quarterback that are 7'9". You don't see over the line. Linemen are all 6'4". No one is seeing over the line. You fucking idiot. You stand in the pocket, and openings happen throughout the line, and you look through the openings. That's how every quarterback has done. There's been no one looking over the line. If you had a bunch of 4-foot tall linemen, then you could look over the line. How tall do you think these quarterbacks are that they're seeing over their offensive linemen? Are you fucking stupid? Very few quarterbacks are considerably taller than their own offensive line, blocking a defensive line. No one's seeing over the line. Drew Brees, 5'9". Kyler Murray, 5'10". Baker, Russell Wilson, short guys. They're not seeing over the line, but they've had success. I don't think height matters. I really don't. As a quarterback. It matters as a receiver. It matters as someone who needs length. You know? It doesn't matter as a quarterback. It just doesn't. And he's going to prove that this year. Now, it was a rough year for Bryce, of course. But let me tell you, I watched every single play of every single game, and boy, was it rough. But the offense was a fucking disaster. The offensive line just could not. I don't know what happened. And I'm not going to claim to know why our offensive line was so bad, because I really thought they would be good. I try to think fair thoughts and not be too much of a homer. But I thought our line would be pretty damn good. And they just weren't. Pressure was in Bryce's face every single time. It was so hard to watch. The offense was so hard to watch, and this poor kid who's 180 pounds is getting sacked. He got sacked 62 times last year. That's not because he's fucking lost holding on to the ball too long. Our line was terrible, and our receivers, for whatever reason, just couldn't get open. The only receiver who could get open was Adam Thielen. And guess what happened with him? He put up over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards. If you're a decent receiver, if you're a good player on this offense, Bryce can find you. You can have success with Bryce. None of our other receivers. We had rookie Jonathan Mingo, and we had DJ Chark. Then we had Hayden Hurst, who got a concussion and had memory loss, and he should retire. But now he's with the Chargers. God bless him. I think he should retire. He had a crazy brain situation. He was like not remembering shit, according to his own father. The ghost of Miles Sanders at running back. Couldn't even hold on to the starting job. The offense was just a disaster. It was not all Bryce. Now Bryce didn't play well. I think he couldn't sling it the way he wanted to at Alabama, where he was just having fun and letting it rip. With these big dudes right in his face every play, having to get rid of the ball, and there's just nobody open. And the only guy to get open is 33-year-old Adam Thielen. And if you can have over 100 catches and 1,000 yards at 33 years old in that offense, that's not nothing, dude. So what do we do in this offseason? Oh, we have a wonderful, wonderful offseason. We start free agency by spending $150 million on 2 shiny new guards to shore up the middle of that line. We move one of our old guards into center. That, admittedly, I don't know how that's going to go. But he was a good guard who missed all of last year with a knee injury. Before that, he was very good. So he's coming back from injury, and he's played center for the Rams their Super Bowl year, not in a game, but like at practice, I guess. I don't know. He's had very little experience with center, but he says it's not a crazy transition. Anyway, then we get these 2 new guards, Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, 2 of the highest-ranked guards in the entire free agency pool this offseason. Those are our first 2 signings of free agency. They are going to shore up the middle of this offensive line, which is such a lesser talked about facet of the pass rush. People always talk about the tackles. The edge rushers. Can you protect the edge? You got to have a good left tackle to protect the quarterback's blind side. You got to have good guards and centers too. Pass rush does come from the middle these days. Quinnen Williams, formerly Aaron Donald, guys like that can just wreck a pass game. They're not just run stuffers anymore. Shore up the middle, and especially Bryce, a little guy running for his life, pressure up the middle, it's just no good. You got to give him a few seconds to look and see, move these guys out of the way so he can see a receiver and get some receivers that can actually get open. So who do we bring in? Deontay Johnson. And all we have to do to bring in Deontay Johnson from the Steelers is trade Dante Jackson, who was a corner that we were about to cut. A rare good move from the Panthers front office. You don't see a lot of those in recent years. We bring in Deontay Johnson, who is an exceptional route runner. Steelers fans always love to complain about him. He didn't live up to his potential. He struggled with drops. Yeah, he was also a Pro Bowler his rookie year, and he was playing with Steelers quarterbacks. Poor guy. He's playing with Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, he didn't have a whole lot of success there. Can you believe it? We bring him in, and it's going to be so good for Bryce to be able to see a receiver other than now 34-year-old Adam Thielen, a receiver that can get open on these short intermediate routes, so Bryce can just have someone. It must be such a mind fuck to constantly be dropping back to pass, and there's just over and over and over, there's nobody open. How do you not lose confidence? I would. But I think Bryce is a strong enough, that's his whole thing. He's so even-keeled to the point where that kind of bothers me. I want to have a little bit of a keel. Keel it, Bryce. You're keeling it out there. Get fired up. I want to see some highs. Some highs, win some lows, but give me some highs, brother. But that's the thing. He's so calm, cool, and collected. There's no way he's lost confidence in himself after a rough rookie year. So they say, and I hope they're right. I don't know the guy personally. But what he does seem to be excited for is this whole new regime that we've brought in on the coaching staff. Brought in Dave Canales, former OC of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he's resurrected poor Baker Mayfield, who was destined to be a backup. Christ's sake, when he went to Tampa, there was a quarterback controversy between him and Kyle Trask. His career was damn near over. Dave Canales and his offense, which was fine, but it's effective. They weren't the top offense in the league, but he took Baker Mayfield and gave him life. What'd he sign, a fucking $90 million contract, some shit? He's back. Because Dave Canales saved him right after coming from Seattle, where he resurrected none other than Geno Smith. So that's kind of why he was brought in. A big part of why he was brought in. He's taken these reclamation projects at quarterback and saved their careers. And Bryce Young's career right now, let's be real, it needs saving. And let's be real again, we are stuck with him. We gave up so much to get him. Multiple first-round picks, multiple second-round picks, and our best receiver. That part was really tough to swallow. Sending DJ Moore to the Bears, who was our best offensive weapon. That was honestly stupid. It wasn't the trading up that was so stupid. I was fine with trading up. We were a game out of the second to last week of the season. We were playing the Bucs to lock up a playoff spot in 2022. But we had Sam Darnold at quarterback. So we were just a quarterback away. Let's just move up in the draft, say fuck it, push all our chips in, and go get the guy. And the guy was Bryce. I don't think it was a crazy move. In retrospect, it looks bad because we're so bad. But the coaching staff that we had for Bryce was a disaster. It was this all-star team of coaches from all over, different walks of life and different philosophies. And it just didn't work. There was too many cooks in the kitchen, too many ears, too many voices in Bryce's ear. His sweet little ears. His sweet little caramel ears. So this offseason, finally, Tepper, I think, gets it right. Or right enough. Firing our fucking stupid GM and Scott Fitterer. This is such a stupid guy. Just a fucking idiot. Trading some high picks to get Sam Darnold and then immediately signing his fifth-year option before he ever played a snap. What are you doing? Starting 3-2 in 2021 and then going out and trading a bunch of picks for Stephon Gilmore because we want to win now? Win now? I think we went 5-12 or 6-11 that year. Just disastrous move after disastrous move. And the last disastrous move was trading all those picks away to move up to get Bryce. Looking back, yeah, that was a disastrous move. They would have wished that they had stayed put, I think. But we're stuck with Bryce. And because we gave up so much to get him, we have to stick with him for 3 years and see what we've got. Even if he sucks this year, he's going to start again next year, I think. This is basically like his rookie year right now. Last year is pretty much out the window. So we're starting over. We're pretty much considering this Bryce's rookie year. And it's a nice little rookie year because he got some good learning experience last year, didn't he? Yeah, it sucked. But he got some valuable playing time. But anyway, we fired Scott Fitterer, our GM. Bring in his assistant. Yeah, people may criticize a down the hallway hire, but not when it's former Panthers great Dan Morgan running the show. A former Panther is our GM. I trust this guy. Is he smart? I don't know. Did he have concussion after concussion after concussion? Sure did. But he knows football, and he knows what kinds of players. He went to the Super Bowl with that 2003 team. Had 25-something tackles in the Super Bowl. This guy knows. He's a Panthers legend. Career was cut short by injuries. But he's a Panthers legend, and he knows what kind of guys it takes to win games, to create a culture. He hires Dave Canales, his buddy from when they were in Seattle, and they start building up this coaching staff the way they want it and bring in players that they think can help with their unified vision, which is not what we had last year. We had a GM and a coach who were never friends. Not sure they ever met. And then their big plan was to hire a bunch of old hats, bring Dom Capers back, get Jim Caldwell in the building. Guys with all these years of NFL experience, these old-ass coaches from all over the league. And God, we're going to make Bryce so good because we all have all these different ideas. And it's just not how it works. Now we have a unified vision and a plan on offense. And the new players we brought in, I think, are phenomenal. I really, really like the way this offseason went. Starting with free agency, bringing these 2 new guards that are going to protect the hell out of Bryce, and we're going to run the ball right at the gut. Our left tackle was a fucking shit show last year. One of the worst left tackles in the league, but again, he was a 6th overall pick, and he had a great rookie year. And then, by his own admission, in his sophomore year, which was last year, he kind of got a little cocky and stopped really taking coaching. And then he sucked. And by his own admission, this year he's being more open-minded and trying to take coaching better. And I think he will hopefully have a bounce-back year. We need that. We spent a 6th overall pick on him. Another dominant guy, another local guy, an NC State guy in Ike Ekwonu. If he gets a little bit back to how he was his rookie year, then that's fantastic. Our right tackle is solid. Taylor Moton's solid. Ben's solid. Doesn't miss games. Solid. Great. We could have potentially 5 really good, solid dudes on that offensive line if everyone lives up to expectations. Line is way better. In the draft, knocked it out of the park. First round pick 32, we go ahead and we draft Xavier Legette, who's hasn't played in the preseason, and that's one of the bets I made that I will go back on. I will tell you not to bet. I made a Xavier Legette Rookie of the Year bet, and that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. I regret making that. But as a fan, I'll throw a little $20 sprinkle on it. We'll get to the bets later. Draft Xavier Legette. Oh, a fan favorite. Phenomenal accent. People love him. Immediately my favorite player. And that's what I'm talking about. He's got a big body, a big DK Metcalf body. Strong dude, big physical dude to pair with Deontay Johnson's quickness and Adam Thielen's veteran savvy. Bring in year 2 Jonathan Mingo, who Steve Smith loves and touts. Decent receiving core. Pretty good receiving core. Deontay Johnson will be the number 1 receiver. The X. And he's going to get a lot of looks. He's going to get a lot of targets. Because he's going to be able to get open. He's going to do these short little passes. And that's how we got to get Bryce confident. Short little passes. So we'll get to some Deontay Johnson bets later. But the draft was phenomenal. Draft Xavier Legette, which, yeah, of course, that's the big fan favorite everyone's talking about. But check this out. The second round, we pick up the top running back prospect in the entire draft in Jonathan Brooks. That's a steal. I know you don't draft running backs early. But midway through the second round to get the top running back prospect in the draft, a guy who was only not a starter until his senior year because he was backing up Bijan Robinson at Texas. We're talking about Jonathan Brooks. Steal. Tore his ACL in November. Still on the pup. Gonna miss the first 4 weeks. But when he starts showing up, we're going to ease him into the offense. I don't think he's going to have a major impact this year. But in years to come, that's a phenomenal pick. In the third round, we got what's probably going to end up being a starting inside linebacker in Trevin Wallace. Great. Love that. Has had a great preseason. But that's not that important. What is important is in the fourth round, we pick up the number 2 tight end prospect in the entire draft, only after first rounder Brock Bowers, who was a generational tight end talent. After him, it was straight to Jatavion Sanders, Jonathan Brooks' friend and teammate at Texas, and he is in line to start. He's going to get a lot of touches. We finally have a good pass-catching tight end, which we haven't had since Greg Olsen. This kid looks great. He's confident. There's a void at tight end. Tommy Tremble kind of is who he is. We also picked up this fella, Jordan Matthews, who's a former receiver transitioning to tight end, and he's had a great preseason. He made the team. He got cut, then brought back to the practice squad, and now he's activated to the active roster. I think he and Bryce are going to have a great connection if he plays. Hope he does get some playing time. He seems like he's worked very hard. He's had a great camp and a great preseason. Suffice it to say, folks, in the running back room, listen, Chuba Hubbard is going to get a lot of touches. We're going to run him into the ground. This is a contract year for him. I don't see him coming back after this year, just the way running backs are treated. I think probably we're going to roll with Brooks and then maybe draft another guy I don't see this team doling out big contracts to running backs. That's just not. They seem just a little more savvy than that. That's not something you're supposed to do anymore. Sadly, it's sad, but it ain't like the receivers these days. Every receiver's contract, he wants $180 million. These poor running backs, if you want a big contract, we'll just let you go, and we'll just draft a rookie. And they'll make a rookie minimum, and we'll run them into the ground. It's pretty fucked. It's kind of fucked up. Maybe something could be done about that. But anyway, Chuba in a contract year, and we're going to give him a lot of touches because we're going to try to save Jonathan Brooks for when he's fully healthy. We're going to run Chuba a lot. It's going to be the Chuba and Miles Sanders show for a lot of the first half of the season. Mostly Chuba. Chuba's going to be the guy. Chuba's going to go for 1,000 yards this year. Probably 6 touchdowns. Chuba's going to be the workhorse. And then we might let him go. I hope not. I like him. And I have a signed mini helmet. Thank you, Amanda Hayes. Got me a Chuba signed mini helmet just for the hell of it. You know I love a gift. Hey, I love a gift. If you come see me on the road, bring me a gift. Small gift. I got to put it in my suitcase. A mini helmet, not a full-size NFL helmet. Don't get me a mini helmet, though. I have too many of those. But I feel pretty confident in the offense. I do. I think year 2, Bryce, he certainly can't be worse. And I think he's going to be drastically improved. He's and the reason that I feel that way is stupid, but it is just based on what I saw at Alabama. He can't not. I know that guy is in there. If you give him an offensive line and some time and some guys that can get open, draw up an offense that he's comfortable in, which Dave Canales seems to be kind of a master at doing, he's going to have success. He was so good. He's a 5'9" quarterback who won the Heisman Trophy. He's really good. I just think he needs some fire, man. On the defense, I have my worries. Stout on the interior defensive line. Stout. Derek Brown and Ashawn Robinson, stout. You're not running up the middle with us. It's the edge that I worry about. I don't know where the pass rush is going to come from. We have 31-year-old Jadeveon Clowney. And on the other side, it's going to be a rotation of some dudes. A 26-year-old second-year man named DJ Johnson, who we moved up in the draft. I'm telling you, Scott Fitterer made some insane moves. He was so stupid. I'm so happy that Dan Morgan is the GM now. He is fucking slick. He's making moves that are helping this team. He got us a second-round pick for next year that we had given away in the Bryce Young draft. He got it back. Made a little trade down in the draft. Loving Dan Morgan as GM. But anyway, DJ Johnson, there's a whole bevy of guys. We got Kaylavon Chason, a former first-round pick. Hey, what if he reaches his old potential? I doubt it. This is going to be like year 4 for him. But he was a first-round pick by the Jaguars. Picked him up. He's had, I think, 4 sacks in like 3 years. So he sucks, but be a rotational guy. DJ Wonnum, rotational guy. I just don't see where the pass rush is going to come from. We had a pretty good defense last year. Really overshadowed by how bad our offense was. Our defense was like decent. But we lost some major pieces. And Brian Burns, we're not keeping Brian Burns. I liked Brian Burns, but damn, if you want $30 million a year and he had 8 sacks last year, I'm sorry, he's good. He is not one of the top edge rushers in the league. He's just not. And the Giants foolishly gave him $30-something million a year. That's really stupid. But that's how the league is. You produce enough, you get a shit ton of money. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. He's getting paid like he's fucking Nick Bosa and shit. He had 8 sacks last year. The Panthers were 2-15. What the hell are you talking about? But it sucks that we lost him. He was more of a pass rusher. Could not stop the run. Couldn't stop the run. Don't miss that. Don't need that. Goodbye. If you want that much money, goodbye. Losing Frankie Louvu is what's more upsetting to me. That was a linebacker who was just... Talk about fire. That dude had fire. Such a motor. Produced a lot of pass rush as well. Just such a stud player. And he took less money to go to the Washington Commanders. That's how much he wanted out of town. That sucks. That hurts. I thought he liked it in Carolina. But why? Why would you? Yeah, we offered him a contract and he took less money. Who knows? It's not like he needed to be closer to Washington and Charlotte are not insanely far apart. It's not like he's from there. I think he's from Polynesia, some sort of a Polynesian place, this Frankie Louvu. But he was such a stud. I am going to miss him. The defense, I have my worries, but picked up Josie Jewell at linebacker, drafted Trevin Wallace, who's had a great camp. The safeties are solid. The corners are very thin. We signed 6 people off the waiver wire. We were first in the waiver wire, and we got 6 new dudes and let go of 6 dudes. And 4 of them were corners. So we're really throwing shit at the wall corner-wise. We've had some injuries. J.C. Horn is very, very good, but he's going to get injured. He gets injured every year. So we need a lot of depth, and we have a lot of depth. I don't know how good they are. I'll tell you we have depth. I'll tell you that we have a lot of guys that I don't know. One of them's name is Michael Jackson. He's going to be starting week 1. Michael Jackson. I'm excited about that. We did have to let go of our other corner, Lamar Jackson, which was also a guy that we had. We used to have a guy named Michael Jordan on our offensive line. He's gone. Whatever happened to that guy? So I got my worries about the defense, but I love our defensive coordinator. He did go out for a bunch of head coaching interviews this past offseason. Didn't take any of them, or they didn't hire him. So I feel like after this season, he's probably going to take a head coaching job. He's black, so he fills the Rooney Rule. He's going to get a head coaching job sooner than later. So we'll take advantage while we got him because he's great. Ejiro Evero. He made something out of nothing last year. And I think he can make something out of nothing this year because he did it last year. Even though I do think our defense will take a step back. But I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this DC, and I have faith in him to hold things together. And hopefully we can pick up some last minute, maybe if we can get Stephon Gilmore back in town. Who knows? We got to find a pass rush somewhere. I don't know. But my best bets are as follows, folks. If you like gambling, I'm going to give you some easy bets. After all I've told you, if you don't think the Carolina Panthers can go over 5.5 wins in the worst division in football, okay, and the benefit of having finished in last place and thus having a last place schedule, playing the other last place teams from the NFC. It's not that crazy of a schedule. It starts off easier than it finishes. That does worry me because I do think we're getting a lot of players back from injury throughout the season. I think it'll take a while for Bryce and Leggett to connect. I think this new offense is going to take a while to get rolling. So I do think we will get better, and unfortunately we are playing like all our really good teams at the end. So maybe that's a good thing. They give us a little time to practice before we have like a 3-game stretch that's like Chiefs, or 4-game stretch that's Chiefs, Eagles, Bucks, Cowboys. That's going to be brutal. But at the beginning, folks, we're playing the Saints week 1. You think the Saints are any fucking good? They're rolling with Dennis Allen. They're rolling with Derek Carr. They have 41-year-old Alvin Kamara. What are they doing? We lucked into getting the Saints on the road week 1. We are going to smoke the Saints. Book it and cook it. Book it and cook it. I got that at a good price. Let me look at these bets that I've made, and we'll go over them with you. Some of them are bad. And I wish I could take them back, but here we go. Let me go to this website that I use. Open bets. Okay. First of all, I have many bets online. I also have some bets with friends going. No one really believes in the Panthers going over 5.5 wins. No one. I'm trying to convince people to go in on it with me. Hey, if you make a bet on the Panthers to go over 5.5 wins on the season future, send me a screenshot. I will send you, something in the mail. I'll send you like some stickers. I'll send you some overly excited tourist stickers in the mail. Show me that you made a bet of $30 or more. I'll send you some stickers. Why would I do that? I don't know. I just want someone to believe with me. But I don't need it. I've been doing it alone this whole goddamn time. But all my friends that I talk to, they don't believe. In fact, I've made a $100 bet with 2 separate friends. So that's $200 I'm on the hook for. They both believe that the Panthers are going to go under 5.5. Don't do that. Don't be as foolish as John Horan and Joshua Sherman. Just don't. They're fools. These poor guys. They're about to lose $100, and they're friends of mine. I don't want my friends to be losing money like this. Especially John, who honestly reeks. I don't know what's going on with the guy, but he reeks to high heaven, and now he's going to be out $100. I mean, that sucks for him to reek. That's $100 he could use on soap because he reeks. God, that sucks. But I got $100 with each of them. And also threw, you know what? I put more money online on that same bet. 200 more bucks. So I got $400 riding on this Panthers over. 5.5 wins. We're in the worst division in football. A relatively easy schedule. Year 2 Bryce, new offense. I think 6 wins. 6-11 is easily attainable. I'm not saying the Panthers are going to be awesome. But I think 6-11 is easily attainable. 6 or 7 is about what I would project. If I were not a fan. But because I am a fan, I'm going to say, 8 or 9 wins even. That's just cuckoo, though. But that is the easiest book it and cook it bet that you can make. If you want money, here you go. Take it. Take this free money. Bet the Panthers over 5.5. Here's some other insane bets that you can find. And what's nice about the Panthers having been so bad last year is that a lot of these season-long over-unders are extremely low. Extremely low. They are the numbers of a completely inept team. And I don't think we're going to be inept anymore. We're not going to be awesome. Look, let's be real. We're not. It's going to take a while to be ept. But some of these over-unders, look at this. Bryce, who's going to have a resurgence. If you could vote on a player for comeback player of the year just after having a year where they just sucked, boy, he'd be in the running. Look at this bet. Total 18.5 passing touchdowns. Are you kidding me? 18.5 passing. What's that, 1.1 per game? You don't think Bryce, with all these new weapons, and he's got new weapons, brother. He's got weapons. He's happy. He's happy Frank Reich is gone and the fucking nightmare rookie year is over. Offense is going to be clicking. It's going to be firing on some cylinders. Not all. We're not going to be the best offense in the league, but we're not going to be the worst. We could be 20th. And if we're the 20th best offense in the league, Bryce is going to have over 18.5 passing touchdowns. Go ahead and book that and cook it. Book that now, cook it straight up. And to go along with that, his over-under on the passing yards, 3,200 passing yards. That's less than 200 a game. Book it and cook it. Dude, book it and cook it. That one less so than the touchdowns. He's gonna fly past the touchdowns. The yards, I think we are going to be running the ball a lot. If you can find any Chuba Hubbard bets, take them. Touchdowns or yards, take them. He's going to go over 1,000 yards. I guarantee that, if he stays healthy. Touchdowns galore. I couldn't find any Chuba bets on the sites that I use. But if you can find a Chuba Hubbard, any season-long bet, take it. Bomb it, book it, and cook it. But Bryce on these passing yards, 3,200, what's that? Fucking 190 yards a game? Come on. This isn't old Bryce. This isn't old Bryce. He had about, I don't know how much he had last year. It's got to be about that. He's going to be so much better. Deontay Johnson, who's going to be our number one receiver. And he's going to get open. He gets open. Poor guy had Mitch Trubisky throwing to him. And he still made it to the Pro Bowl. Yeah, of course that was as a returner. Yes, his rookie year, sure. Now I'm saying things that aren't connected at all. But he's got talent and he's got that shift. He's in his prime. His over-under on touchdowns, 4.5. Get real, folks. This is free money I'm giving you. You don't think Deontay Johnson's going to have 5 or more touchdowns? He's our number one receiver. If he stays healthy, Bryce is going to be looking his way all season long, constantly. He's got the speed to break away. I think it's going to be a lot of underneath stuff for sure. I think Leggett is probably going to be the long ball guy. I'm staying away from any Leggett bets because I don't really know. Try not to do any rookie bets. You just don't know. I'm a realist. And before you think I'm some homer who's just like a homer making all these biased bets, here's a bet that I saw that I think is crazy. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Panthers' rival, I saw their season-long over-under 7.5. Bomb that over, dude. See, that's my rival I'm saying that about. The Bucs won the division last year. They're going to take a step back, I think, but not that much of a step back. They can easily surpass 7.5 wins. They're pretty much running it all back, which I don't think is a recipe for improvement, but I don't think it's a recipe for a major, major decline. See? So I'm telling you that as a guy who hates the Bucs. That's an over you can book and cook. Just to give you a little bit of context on who I am. I'm not insane, and I'm not a hater. I'm a bit of a homer, okay? But I'm giving you some good bets here. Panthers over 5.5 wins. Bryce Young over 32.5 and over 18.5 touchdowns. 3,200.5 passing yards, I mean. Deontay Johnson over 4.5 touchdowns. Easy peasy. I'm on my site right now looking at these bets I've made. Here's a little side one. Arizona Diamondbacks to win the World Series plus 4,000. Why not throw $20 on that for a bunch of former Reno aces? A lot of the guys on that team were at Remo Sriracha night. Those are my guys. I'll throw $20 on that to win $800. But back to the Panthers. Of course, I have a couple sprinkles that are just Homer fan sprinkles. I wouldn't recommend making these bets. But I did take a little sprinkle, as I told you, on Xavier Leggett. And that is how you say his name. It's Leggett. You got to say the E sound, which is tough. People say Leggett, and that's how it really should be pronounced. If you just look at but hey, he ain't known for the correct pronunciations, you know? That's how he says it. If that's how he says it, whatever. I guess I'll listen to him. But who knows what that man's saying half the time. I took him Offensive Rookie of the Year. It was a really good price. Let me find it. It was plus 4,500. Okay. Don't make that bet. That's not going to happen. There's too many rookie quarterbacks that are going to be starting either week 1 or pretty early. And it's going to be one of those guys. Caleb Williams looks really damn good. Jaden Daniels looks pretty good, pretty slick, pretty fast. It's not going to be Leggett. I hope I'm wrong. I put $20 on it and it would win $900, but that's just a little homer bet. That's just a little fun bet as a fan. You know? But it's going to be one of the quarterbacks. That's just how it goes. So I wouldn't make that bet. I also, of course, made a Panthers Super Bowl bet. It's 250-1. At the time, it was the longest Super Bowl odds in the history of the NFL. When this number came out, don't make that bet. Of course, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. But what if it does? What if it does? Why not take a $10 sprinkle as a fan? Yeah, I took a $10 sprinkle. $10 wins me $2,500. I don't think it's a 250-1 chance that the Panthers would win the Super Bowl. That's crazy. These are grown men playing against other grown men. It's not like we're 250th the size of the other teams. Realistically, that should be, I don't know, 113-1 odds. 250-1 is just too good of a price. Take it. Book it and cook it. Now, here's a bet I think is pretty interesting. Odds to win the division at plus 1,200. Now, the NFC South is the worst division in football. The Bucs won it last year. They are going to take a step back. The offense lost. They lost their offensive coordinator. Baker got paid. I think he's going to be chilling. Mike Evans ain't getting any younger. I don't see any big improvements that they made on offense. And Vegas knows it. Their over-under was down to 7.5. Now, I think that's a little silly. But I don't think they're going to regress. I think they could regress. Atlanta has created a super team. with Kirk Cousins and a bunch of high draft picks that haven't done anything, but they are high draft picks. And then signing Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons. I think those are good signings, but the Falcons are going to Falcon. They haven't really shown anything. People need to stop hating on Kirk Cousins. He is damn good. I think maybe the reason the Falcons that these high draft picks haven't produced anything is because they have no one to throw them the damn ball. And Marcus Mariota last year and Desmond Ridder. Kirk Cousins is the man. Falcons are going to be good. If I was a betting man, and I'm not, I never do that stuff. I think the Falcons have the best chance. Certainly that's how Vegas sees it. The best chance to win the division. But who knows? The Falcons are gonna Falcon. Raheem Morris is their coach. No one on their team has done anything. They just have a lot of potential. But potential don't get you shit. Now, granted, that's why I'm believing in Bryce Young, because he has potential. Coming out of college, had so much potential. And that's why I still believe. So I know it's a little bit hypocritical of me to say the Falcons are all potential, no substance. But hey, maybe they just kind of suck. They are the Falcons. They're kind of similar to the Panthers in that way. Like just like a disappointing team. Pretty miserable fan bases, to be honest. Lost a couple brutal Super Bowls. Theirs was worse. And that was awesome. 28-3 was fucking awesome. And I hate the Patriots. And the Saints just suck, dude. The Saints aren't going to do shit. They're going to be fine like they are every year. They're going to be fucking 6-11, 7-10. They're fine. They're running it back. They've made no improvements that I know of. Running it back with Dennis Allen, who is insane that he didn't get fired. I'm glad he didn't. People get fired way too quickly these days. Give the guy another shot. But a wholly unimpressive team and organization. So yeah, 12-1 odds to win the division? Yeah, I'll take that. I'll book that and cook it. I put $30 on that to win $360. Is it going to happen? Probably not. I'm not telling you to make this bet. But that's just a little bet I took as a fan. But also we're playing the Saints in week 1, and that's an easy peasy. I got that at plus 185 for the Panthers to win on the money line. That's come down a lot. That's like plus 150 now because people are catching my wind. These sharps are catching my wind coming out of my big fat ass. Put a little sprinkle on that. Why not? I would recommend that one. Panthers over Saints. I might be so confident in that I might pick the Panthers in my Survivor League week 1. Nah, I definitely shouldn't do that. I kind of want to, though. I just want to. It's been so many years of this organization that I've just been so frustrated and sad. I've just been sad, man. For 7 fucking years, I've just been bummed. Slowly taking more and more Panthers stuff off my wall. My apartment used to be way worse than it is now. Now I keep it classy. I have a few little Panthers accents, you know? I have Panthers accents on my walls. People might come over. People usually say the opposite. They say you have too much Panther stuff. I say you should have seen it before. It was pretty crazy before. I think it's pretty chill now. It's just like a boy's apartment. It's a Panthers fan's apartment. My friend Ahmed used to say back when it was a crazy Panthers apartment, he would go, "Your apartment is like a lair for a superhero named Panther Man." That was when I lived in a studio, and I only had 4 walls to my name, and they were just covered in Panther stuff. I've chilled out, but I've chilled out because I've gotten older, but also because this team has just been such a bummer for so many years now. And I want to be excited again. And I am excited again. I like this new staff. I like Dave Canales. I like his interesting story. I like that he cheats on his wife a lot. I think that's really cool. Dave Canales famously cheats on his wife, or cheated on his wife back in the day many times, and then she made him write a book about it. Really interesting read if you love God. Definitely held a gun to his head and made him write a book about how he cheated on her and how he found God. They found God together, and through God, they found forgiveness, and what a tough time it was, and how she made him stop watching porn. He was addicted to porn. That is hilarious, that he had to write a book saying, and I was addicted to porn, and now I'm not, and our marriage is better now. But it was brutal. Yeah, he was cheating on his wife because he was on the road all the time as an NFL coach, and he's super handsome. Probably the second handsomest NFL coach after Matt LaFleur, I'd say. And that is important to me. Another reason I wanted Bryce over CJ. CJ is fucking super ugly. The hardest part about Cam Newton leaving was how handsome he was. Then he left, we brought in Teddy Bridgewater and then Sam Darnold. I mean, we brought in these uggos, dude. I don't want to root for these uggos. So much more fun to root for a handsome stud. Bryce is a handsome guy. He's 5'9", but he's a handsome guy. Smile that lights up the room. My sweet Pookie Bear, Bryce. Anyway, wanted to be excited for this year. I'm getting myself excited. I'm getting myself jazzed up. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Don't take any of these bets if you don't want. But the Panthers to beat the Saints week 1, I got it at plus 185, but it's about plus 150 now. I would take that. Do a sprinkle on. Put $20 on it. Win $30. The Saints suck, dude. The Panthers want to come out and prove something. That last year was fucking embarrassing, dude. You don't think this team wants to come out and show that that's not who we are anymore? The Saints just kind of trudged through last year. Coach almost got fired and then didn't, and they're just running it back this year. Where is the motivation? Where is the fire for that team? I think the Panthers come out in week 1 and lay it on the Saints. Book it and cook it. Panthers money line. Then I made some other insane bets that you shouldn't take. I did take a Dave Canales Coach of the Year bet, which is pretty unlikely. I would not recommend that one. But we won 2 games last year. If Dave Canales, we can quadruple our win total and still have a losing record. Oh my God. We can go 8-9. Now, if we go 8-9, does Dave Canales win Coach of the Year? 6 more wins than the year before. That's a big difference. I think he would have to be in the running. But generally, I think you have to have a winning record for the coach to be Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year? I mean, Ron Rivera won Coach of the Year. Honestly, twice. But in 2015, he won Coach of the Year because we just went 15-1. I mean, he just won a shit ton of games. And there was, like, the Cardinals, I think, went 14-2 that year. So it's really like if you win a shit ton of games, you can be Coach of the Year. Or if you have a major turnaround, you can be Coach of the Year. And I think we have, obviously, the biggest window to have the biggest turnaround. We lost by far the most games last year. So I did a little sprinkle on that. If the Panthers are a middling team, if we can, I mean, we're not gonna. I'm just spitballing here. But if we had 8 or 9 wins, come on, Canales got to get Coach of the Year. You could quadruple that win total, and no one believes. No one believes in us, and that's another thing. That's another little monkey on old Dave's back, I think, that no one fucking believes that we're going to make a turnaround. No one's talking about us as like a big turnaround team. Everyone loves the Bears. They're going to be decent. But everyone just thinks we're going to suck again. And I think we're going to be mediocre. And I would be thrilled with mediocre. Lord knows, all we got to do is get 6 wins and I get $400 in my pocket, and my poor friend John can't afford soap. But I wouldn't take that bet. But it's just a little fun little bet I made. Did I make any other ones? Oh, look at this insane bet. Week 1. This is not a... so that does it for my season-long futures. But look at this insane bet. Week 1, Adam Thielen, over-under receiving yards. Oh, that was another one. Oh, I have one more NFL future. Adam Thielen, I didn't find this on this website. I had to do it on another website. That's why I forgot about it. Adam Thielen, season-long receiving yards, 550 and a half. 550 receiving yards. This guy had over 1,000 yards last year, and he was 33. So age isn't really quite catching up with old Adam like you would think it was. You think he's going to get half the amount of receiving yards this year? Unless he gets hurt. He's still going to be Bryce's security guy. He's gonna be a slot guy. He's gonna get you 50, 60 yards a game. Most weeks, sometimes over that. 70, 80 yards every once in a while, he's going to go off because now we have other weapons that teams have to take into account. We had no weapons except for him last year, and he had 100 catches for over 1,000 yards. You don't think he can eclipse 550 yards this year? Book that and cook it to perfection. Broil it. Clean the oven. These are easy bets I'm giving you. And then get this. So that does it for my season longs, the futures. Get this. Week 1, Adam Thielen's over-under receiving yards, 37.5. That's the easiest bet that of all of these bets. I've given you now 8 or 9 bets. Some are better than others, but this is the best one. Take Adam Thielen on the over 37.5 week 1. I mean, easy money. With this new look offense, and I think Bryce and Deontay still kind of forming their relationship when Bryce and Adam already have had that relationship. He's still his guy. Is he a year older? Sure. But all he does is get open, and I don't see how the Saints improved that much defensively. Granted, I don't keep that much in tabs with them. So who knows? I'm talking out of my ass. But if you don't think Adam Thielen can get 38 yards receiving, is he going to be the number one guy as far as the game plan? No. But he's the number one guy as far as veteran savvy and getting open and on third downs. Easy peasy 37.5. I might ladder that, which I did. I brought it all the way up to 48. So that one's like plus 110. But you can get all the way up to like 70, 80 or something. You know, who knows? He had a few 100-yard receiving games last year. He's still producing at a very high level. He's going to get 38 receiving yards. Are you fucking stupid? Book that, cook it. So I did a little week 1 parlay. I forgot I made this. Here's my little parlay. Thielen would have 48 or more receiving yards. Chuba will have 1 or more touchdowns. And Deontay will have over 4.5 receptions. I think that is money in the bank. The only one I'm not sure about is Chuba. I think that's a sexy, very sexy little parlay. That's only $10 I put on it to win $70. I think if you want to jump on that with me, I would recommend that one. Chuba's getting a touch. I mean, Deontay's getting 5 catches. Come on. These quick little slants and shit, little out routes. Bryce trying to get the ball out fast to begin the year, get some confidence going, get some completions. Deontay's getting 5 catches for sure. Did you see that preseason drive or on 4th down? Bryce had to scramble to his left. Deontay broke his route, found a little spot, got open, bailed out his guy. He's gonna get 5 catches, dude. He's forming a connection with Bryce. And for sure, Thielen can get 48 yards. For sure. I just believe in the guy. So that's my little parlay. And thus ends my Panthers' best bets for 2024. I would love to check back in halfway through the year, see how things are going. I hope and I think we can start fast. We got the Saints, the Chargers, and the Raiders to start. If you were a good team, like I hope we can be, then you gotta go at least 2-1 in those. A good team would go 3-0 in those 3 games. I don't think we're a good team yet. But I think the 2024 Carolina Panthers will be a middling team. And that will be awesome to watch. After that disaster of last year, I'm so hopeful for mediocre. I would love mediocre. I would love to not be eliminated from playoff contention in week 9. I would love that. How fun that must be. So those are my best bets, as inspired by the sports podcasts I've been listening to. They're just fun. But don't worry, if you're not into this, don't worry. I'm not going to do this a lot. I'll check in, later in the year with see how my boys are doing. But next podcast, I'm going to go to Florida next week, and then I'm going to come back and do a little Florida recap. So hopefully it's interesting, because I'm going to talk about it either way. That'll be episode 28. But thank you guys for listening to episode 27 of Laser Show. If you're in Florida, please come out and see me, or tell a friend if you have anyone that lives there. I need to sell tickets. These are door deals. And I'm completely broke. Things have really gone off the rails, and I need money. Feel free to also just send me money. I couldn't be broker. Let me know on Instagram if you made it to the Elk. God, I want a soundboard. I do want to kind of up the production on this podcast and get a soundboard. Soundboards are so fun, but then one of the sounds would be an elk for sure. They do it's almost like a fucking. They get pretty high pitched. It's like low pitched and high pitched at the same time when an elk screams. It's like a bellow with like a bit of a whistle tint to it. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance.
Brio, brio, ya. Brio, brio, ya.